But we do have one of our reserves. We have IR6 over towards the creek there, and that's still part of our Indian reserves today. A lot of the Indian reserves that we have now were set out in the 1860s and 1870s, and this particular one was set out as a fishing station. And when our chiefs a long time ago, when they had to make those choices for reserves, our chiefs in particular made sure that we weren't going to be starved out, and we actually have three or four of our small reserves are actually fishing stations, and this is one of them. So and Eric can correct me later. We're going to mention a few place names, but that creek is named Sucker Creek, Capleton. And a long time ago, our people also were not only salmon people. Our people ate a lot of kinds of fish at different times, so we would always have food. So Sucker Creek is the English translation for this. And also too, Alan mentioned too that this bay was known as Canoe Bay, and I'll just elaborate on that. So there's an 1827 map. That's one of the oldest maps for showing the interior of British Columbia, and it was mapped by Archibald MacDonald, a fur trader. And listed on that map is this little bay is listed as Canoe Bay on that 1827 map. Also too, this is an old village site, so so we always feel at home when we're here, and through part of our oral history we understand that at some point that there was an epidemic through here, and people kind of did abandon or move away from this place, at least for a little while. There's a second Okanagan place named for this place, which maybe I'll leave to Eric. But it actually means the corduroy logs that the canoe runs. So it's a place where, because there were so many canoes here, right? People had their runs here and they'd slide up their canoes on it, and that's the second Okanagan place name for this. Also too, I guess, earlier on, this reserve over here was known as the Priest Valley Reserve. And in 1911, there was a census here, and I believe they included some of the non-native people in that census there, but there were well over 100 people on that 1911 census talking about the Priest Valley. So I think at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Eric and kind of build in a little bit more about this place. We've been here for a long time, and those are some of the stories that we have about this place.
Thank you, Ruby. Small gift for you. Also, as an Okanagan Nation representative and elder who is supporting the sharing of history and traditions, Eric Mitchell will be adding to our knowledge of the history and living culture of the people of this land. So I'm going to turn it over to Eric. My name is Eric Mitchell, and I'm from the Okanagan Indian Band. I'm very proud to be standing here among you and sharing a few words with you. I was asked to share a little bit about the history and of this area, but Alan and Ruby did a pretty good job, so there is a few things I could maybe add to that. And after that, we're going to use this fir bough to bless the canoe, so that its journey from here on will be a good one. So this area, like it was mentioned, sucker. When you hear that word today, even amongst our people, we might curl up our lips and who would eat suckers. But my grandmother she always liked, always getting after us to bring her some suckers or whitefish, even though they're bony. That's the thing that she remembered eating in the springtime always. And an image that I'd like to share with you is, looking out on the land here, it's all beautiful and sunny. But back in, I'm 64 years old, and back in the generation before me, they told us that across the lake there, along 6 Mile Creek and West Side Road, the snow would be 6 feet deep in the wintertime. And so we don't know today what that was like, because the little bit of snow that we get today is a far cry from what it was a generation ago. And so can you imagine that all the dried meat that they had, the dried fish, the dried berries, the dried roots, would have to last through 3 to 4 months, maybe 5 months if it was a really long winter. And so at that time also it was really cold. It was nothing to have 40 below, 50 below weather here. The folks that are here today never seen that. I remember when I was a teenager, there was 40 below for 2 weeks, and that ice on the lake would get 2-3 feet deep. And so the reason that suckers are so important to us is back in those times, when near the end of the winter, maybe it stretched on for another 2 weeks more, and here you are, you're looking at your food sources, and they're depleting quickly. So good thing about the suckers is, over there where that creek is, as long as that water is moving, it doesn't freeze as much as it does out there. And so those suckers in early April are the first ones that our people would go after when they come to spawn in those creeks in April. And those were our saviors back then. When you kind of run out of food a little bit, well, that was the first fresh fish for the springtime, for the next year. And so that's why the suckers are very important to our people. And I would encourage anybody to, if they ever get a chance, to take a taste of them whitefish and them suckers, because they mean a lot to us, and they do taste good if they're prepared correctly. So I guess I see. You guys don't. Yeah, the blessing will be done later. So when we get to that part there, I'll ask the folks that are going to take the canoe out again to come down, and we'll give them a good thrashing before they go out. So I guess we're going to carry on here a little more, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Eric.